Victory! Victory! I'm so happy. I planned to make this video. It's part of my manifestation of the result I've just got. And this is for anybody who is going through any kind of injustice, or they've been hard done by, or you've got some kind of confrontation, or you've got some kind of challenge in your life where you don't know what to do and you can't see a way out. So if that's of interest, stick with me, stay till the end, because I want to share with you how I ended up not needing to go through a court case of a year and a huge extra expense for me, and got justice after 2 months of going through loopholes and blah, 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 by energy, by absolutely using all the skills and power that we all have to change a situation before you go in to actually speak to somebody. I'm going to be talking about how to do this and how you can use it in your own life, and how you can have amazing results, whether it's an argument with a lover or a partner or an in-law or a family member. And this is just extraordinary. The results are extraordinary. And I'll also tell you about my personal story, because it's been so stressful. Right. If that sounds good to you, this is my channel. My name is Helen Millar. This is Head to Heart Living, how to live a life less from fear and more from love. And yes, I talk about spirituality and metaphysical things by nature, but I also talk about very practical, grounded stuff, because it all needs to be grounded. Otherwise, it's just some weird hobby, right? And, you know, when you hear people sort of walking around with crystals, wafting feathers, and then, you know, shouting at people in the street and hitting them with hammers, it doesn't add up. So we've got to keep it grounded. We've got to keep it real in the everyday, which is why it's powerful. So if that sounds good and you get anything from this video, please smash the like button, tweak the like button, stroke the thumb. If you want to subscribe and you haven't already, that's great. It really helps the channel. And you can share this to anybody you know who is going through a court case, a divorce, a stressful situation, or has a pattern of behavior where they keep on arguing or feeling antagonistic towards somebody. It's going to help. Right. So here is my story. I passed my driving test a long time ago when I was 26. Because it was when I had stable income. I failed 3 times when I was 17 on speeding, but I never had an incentive to pass because I was never going to have a car, and I lived in the centre of London and I couldn't afford one and no one was going to buy me one. So I let that slide. And then when I was 26 and I was in the West End acting in a gig, and I knew that I had stable income for 6 months, I picked up the lessons again and got my license. But I lived in the centre of London, so I never got a car. I left London and realised I needed a car. wasn't sure how much I was going to enjoy driving or actually really want one. So I got a car share with somebody else, and we shared this car. Realized I liked driving, realized the freedom it gave me when I wasn't in zone 1. And I then went and decided to invest in a car that I really liked, that I looked around for ages, got loads of advice from different mechanics who I knew about getting a good car. And I thought I got a good car, and I got it from a garage because it came with a warranty, and I thought I was doing it properly. And if you're going to say never buy from a garage, well, then I did. I thought I was doing the right thing. So I got this car. I was so happy in this car, but within 2 days, things started going wrong with this car. And I was emailing the garage and they weren't responding, and I took it in and they were closed when they should have been open. And then more things were going wrong, and I was emailing them, and then they were telling me it wasn't their responsibility and I needed to take it to another garage and pay out of my own money. And I was like, this isn't the first 30 days. Like, this isn't right. And then big things started going wrong with the car, and I took it in, and the guy who owned the dealership wasn't there, but the mechanic looked at it, and he essentially, I realize now, fobbed me off with some stuff, made me feel foolish and like I didn't know what I was doing. I spoke to other mechanics afterwards who were like, that's not right. That shouldn't have happened. That doesn't mean that. You were right. Anyway, I found this out days later, because 24 hours of taking it in with all these major things going off in the dashboard, I was on the motorway going to work and had smoke pouring out the engine, pulled over onto the hard shoulder, waited for hours to be towed to another garage where I waited on my own for till 2:30 in the morning, waiting to be towed home. The car was never inspected. And it was freezing cold, and I was on my own essentially for 8 hours, lost loads of money on my job, and let people down, and reputational damage and all of that stuff. So I got the car towed by a very nice man in the AA to the garage where I'd got it from. Next day, called up, was like, I want my money back. They refused. They told me that I'd crashed the car and that's why there had been an accident, and that was the story they then stacked to. They told me they'd fixed it when they hadn't, and it was ready to collect. And so I didn't trust them, and I took the AA with me to look at this car. The AA corroborated that it hadn't been properly fixed. I had been lied to, that I was indeed due a full refund, and they refused and said, see you in court. And that was 2 months ago. And I have spent 2 months paying the insurance on this car and the parking on this car, not having a vehicle, having to hire things, having to get cabs, having to pay the transport on top, not being able to live my life as freely as I want, having to leave the gym I went to because I couldn't get there. And it's just been hours and hours and hours of legal advice, going through mediation with the AA, them refusing, and essentially being gaslit and lied to, even though I had proof with this AA statement from a mechanic that they were lying. Anyway, has been a nightmare, a long, long nightmare, because I wanted the cash back before buying another car and paying insurance on 2 cars. And essentially, long story short, I was told by everybody to take them to court and claim for damages. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to do this. And then I found out that small claims courts can take up to a year. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to have, and that car was on their land. So I was like, oh my God, they're going to have the car and my money, and I'm going to be paying insurance on it and parking. And then I'm going to have to pay another car, pay more insurance on that of a second car. And all of this, I was like, okay, there's got to be a different way through. I really don't want this hanging over me for that long. I want my energy free. I want to feel good. I don't want this laboriousness. But if that's what it's meant to be, God, universe, then I will stand in my power and I will take this to court, take this all the way. And when the mediation finished with the court and I got all this extra legal advice, and I was like, okay, I was just like, I don't want to do that. So what am I going to do? And this is the plan. This is the plan, right? So this is what I did. I prayed really deeply. I say God, but you could say whatever your belief structure is, to the consciousness. For me, God is the consciousness that has birthed this reality, this life, like each of us, the fact that it's just, beautiful, the planet. And I prayed really deeply, let me, inside me, find all the parts of me that want to fight, all the parts of me that have been furious about injustice, that have wanted to oh, right, well, my sleeve's up and then come on then. You think you can, all the parts of me that are still angry with men, that see this as a battle of the sexes, that see this as I've got something to prove, that some of you who've been watching my videos for a while will know that I faced a huge injustice in many times in my life, 2 specific ones. And one of those was an epic international, the court case that went all through the press and had massive, consequences for me. So I was like, okay, there is obviously residue from that of unhealed justice. So where am I projecting that on? Where am I adding that into the mixture of this dynamic? Where am I making it personal about him and stuck in the polarity of this reality? Where am I really in my human ego about wanting to do it? And where can I bring healing to that part in myself? Where can I love that aspect of me? And I went in, it was like when I was 13, and the image I had of this aspect of myself was just spinning round, ungrounded, uncentered, had been, fucked with by, excuse my French, been messed around with by life. And at that age, I had no tools to know how to process it. So I was like, the image I had was me just punching the air, spinning around in circles. And it's like, okay, that part of me is unhealed. How can I bring love to that aspect of me? How can I make it feel safe? How can I make it feel whole? How can I make it feel like the adult, self-realized, empowered, not that I'm pretty self-realized yet, but that kind of like adult in the driving seat. How can I bring that aspect of me into my heart? Okay, let's get that on board, right? And then from there, how can I let go any sense that I have to do this, like this has to be the outcome? Because as soon as there is something that we want and we need, like I need that promotion, or I need a Mercedes, or I need this amount of money, like that kind of desperation energy, that's going to attract. It's really difficult to get anything of that energy. I mean, if you see, like if you're with someone who's like, I need you, so, oh my God, get away from them. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not attractive, that energetically on any level. So how can I let go of that? I need to get my money back. I'm, in me, and it's up to God, right? It's up to the universe. Like, what is the high? Maybe the highest and best outcome is that this is a court case. Maybe the highest and best outcome of this is I get that car back and actually it is okay to drive or whatever. Maybe the high, although that really didn't feel good in my system, like even saying it, although it's not that one. Maybe, do you know what I mean? Like it's like, but I can't see the wood for the trees here. The perspective of the consciousness that birthed this creation can see far more than me. So how can I in myself surrender up the best outcome, hold in my heart and know what I want, but not need it, because I know I can't see everything. And who knows, like how many times have you been like, oh my God, I missed the train. Oh, hello, beautiful stranger, when you end up marrying or whatever. It's like, we never know why what's happening is happening. So how can I get into that space of curiosity whilst holding what I do want, but not needing it? Okay, with me so far, give me a thumbs up. If you understand, put in the chat. If you follow the steps, great. Next step, once I've let go of the needing, I know what I want, and I'm healing that part of me that is at war. Then it's like, okay, how can I see the part that's in them that's engaging with this like 13-year-old aspect of me? So what came up when I looked at this situation was the tendency that is in humanity collectively to destroy that which it cannot have, right? If you think about kids at school and like you're jealous of like Jason has done the much better painting than you, so like the kid comes in at break time and rips up Jason's painting and then runs away again, right? It's that thing, it's that energy, right? Or you see about neighbors who like sabotage what's going on, or what's going on with Rachel Elnor and Cressbrook Dale and all of that kind of thing. This tendency to want to destroy that which you cannot have. People who've like thrown acid in model spaces, like all those sorts of things. Or, like even like dropping litter in nice places, or having a chip on your shoulder about people who you perceive having more than you. Like all of that kind of ties into the same energy field. There's many ways that it plays out. So I saw that coming at me. So it's like, okay, then the next level is like, how do I coat myself in an image or a mirror that they perceive as actually I'm not available to be fucked with. Don't know if YouTube is censored so much now that I'm going to get banned for swearing, but anyway, it's a sweary kind of subject, right? So I'm unfuckable. Like, how can I now want to imprint to them this unfuckable energy. That so they're not seeing a 13-year-old vulnerable, ungrounded fury field. They're getting the energy of it's not worth their time to like keep this going. And then what do they want? Well, they're looking to feel empowered. They're looking to feel like the boss. Like it's that kind of bullying energy. Like you don't bully if you feel totally solid in yourself. So it's like, okay, I then want to allow them, all of this is done before I speak to them, before I do anything, right? How do I plant the seed before this conversation that actually the best outcome for them is giving me a full refund, because actually they can fix the car up, they can sell it on again, they can make another, a profit on it. They can, it's a much bigger loss for me than it is for them. So how can I make them see that this is winning? This is actually, she might have taken us to court, but actually we've got a result much quicker for us. So they feel like it's win-win for them, or they feel like it's a win for them. I don't feel they care about if it's a win for me. So it's putting that in the field. Then I was visualizing having whatever kind of conversation happened, and then leaving with that a 13-year-old aspect of me and my friend who was coming with me, totally clean from any like debris or other kind of energy, and sealing the whole business in a beautiful healing light that's going to transmute anything that's happening within that space that is not for the highest and best good of everybody, not just me, but whoever might go and purchase things there in the future. So I did all of this with the day before. On the morning of, I prayed, I wrote affirmations, I chanted, I listened to the audiobooks of Florence Scovel Shinn, who is a metaphysical, amazing woman who was speaking at the time of the Great Depression in America. Really recommend her books. They're actually free on Audible. Check it out. And then I went, and the friend I was going with made sure we were on the same page about like actually not there for the fight, like seeing this as the highest, best outcome. And then I went in and I was, had adrenaline, to the office and sat down and stayed totally my adult, didn't get angry. He smirked. We went around the houses for an hour. But eventually, when I pulled out the proof and showed the text and the proof that you've lied and this is this, and and then eventually I got the full refund there and then on the spot. And I have agreed not to leave them bad Google reviews and things like that. But through the energy work of preparing the space like that, I trust that whatever's meant to happen, like that, will be alchemized in that company. And if somebody else needs to learn the lesson, because now I have gratitude for going through that experience, because I've learned a lot about the practicalities of buying cars, a lot about the legal system and what I need to do in the future to make sure that I am fully protected, and how I could, set everything up for all sorts of things going forward. And I feel deeply grateful for the healing that I've done in myself, for those parts of me that were still looking to take on that challenge. Because if this situation hadn't happened, I wouldn't have done that healing. And ultimately, in 20 years' time, I'm not going to be thinking about the car. What's going to matter is whether I've healed those aspects of me. So that is the gift in the situation. So if you have got any kind of conflict resolution issues, stress going on, look at you can meditate on this, you could journal on this, you could work with a therapist who can hold space to do this kind of work. You can book a session with me, but I don't kind of do one-off sessions, but if you're my clients, it's the sort of thing we can look at. Look at what is going on inside you that is being complicit within the dynamic. Now that is it's quite brave to look at that. And sometimes we're not always ready to look at those parts of us, but where is the part of you that's unhealed and needs love? And that's not about rolling over and giving in or giving up, but it's looking at where are you being complicit in that argument? Where are you available for that level of pushback or corruption or manipulation? Where does it come from in you? I gave the example of where it was coming from in me, but it may be completely different for you. Then you can understand what's going on for the other person and why they're seeking and feeding that dynamic. And then you can look at healing both of those aspects. Then you can put into prayer that everything that happens for the highest and best good, know what the outcome you want is, and let go of the need of the result. Like really trust in the divine, whatever that means to you, will hold this. And then make sure you do whatever you can to feel totally resourced, have your batteries charged, to not be in anger as little adrenaline as possible and be in your heart for the best and highest good to come. So I hope that's helpful. I'm really happy. Like, yeah, okay, I could have potentially gotten a load more money if I'd gone through the legal system, but the amount of stress and hours and bandwidth, like, my life is precious. I could spend that bandwidth, you know, having picnics, making love, kayaking down rivers, like creating beautiful projects. Doesn't have to be done going through the legal system. It's not my idea of fun. So thank you for being with me. Thank you for all the people who've been asking me to do more videos. It's been a busy old time, but now I'm going to have more time because I won't be on the phone to lawyers constantly asking legal advice in that context anyway. And if you put in the chat, if you like what you hear and you want to stay in touch with me, subscribe to this channel, but you can also jump on my newsletter and hear about what I've got coming up. Sunday, I am back on Hampstead Heath running my workshop for the Psychedelic Society, Healing with Trees. I also will be having a cacao ceremony coming up this summer, which isn't booked yet. You can order ceremonial grey cacao from my shop on the list below. If you go over to my Instagram, which is at Helen Heart Healer, you can see a whole load of exciting things in my link tree. And at the moment, I'm in the process of updating loads of products that I love on my life hacks under About Me on my website, just going through a rebrand at the moment. So it's going to look quite different shortly, including things like this beautiful candle, and it's done for what your actual birthday is. And it's all real candle, not that plastic thing that makes fumes. It's got this information on the back. I've also, what I'm really passionate about is sun cream that is good for you rather than going to bake chemicals into the skin and make you ill. I've got a 20% off coupon code for the brand Odeleek. That is the one that I use because I'm super fair. My mum, you know, had skin cancer. I'm really like fussy about what I put on my skin, and this one gets 100 out of 100 in the skincare stuff, and I love it so much. I've been talking to people about it for years, that I've become an affiliate with it, but only because I was doing it naturally anyway, and you get 20% off. And it's not in my integrity to promote things that I don't care about. Anyway, so check that out. That might be of interest. Mainly, thank you for being here. Thank you for the people who are live in the house. I will be back soon, at some point. I do have 2 spaces for one-to-one work. So if you want to make big changes in your life, you can book a discovery call with me. Get on the website hearthealer.co.uk. You can book a chat. We can see if we're a good fit, no obligation. And that is under Work With Me on the website. You can also see on the website, oh, come on, Helen, the festivals that I'm speaking at this summer, namely Medicine Festival and the Heart of the Rose Festival, both amazing festivals. Medicine is sold out, but the Heart of the Rose Festival, it's a women-only festival, and the tickets are available. It's so magical. Last year, it's on a ley line in a deer park with ancient trees. It's like next level. The people who are going to be there are extraordinary. I was like so much like in Girl Crush last year. So, oh my God, there's so-and-so. Oh my God. I'm like, hi, I've been following you for years. Like, you set up Tree Sisters. Yeah, I'm talking about Claire de Bois, you know, like, and amazing musicians. And anyway, extraordinary. And I'm going to be speaking about healing your relationship with money, because that is something that I have so transformed in my life. Thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God. So yeah, so if you would like to come and say hello at any of those, it's great. I love it when people come up to me in the street and say, "Hi, what's your YouTube?" This is so random because it doesn't feel like it really goes in there, but it's great to hear, because you know, it's I make the vids to help. Hope they help. Lots of love, people. Have a great day. See you soon. Mwah.